So I know a lot of people are talking bad about Uber. They're talking bad about Lyft. They're talking bad about DoorDash. Hell, I was kind of feeling bad about Uber because I was just deactivated. So I get it. It's sometimes it's warranted, but ultimately, if you're doing this with a purpose, then you could be like me and at least be a little bit positive. If you're doing this with a purpose, at least you can see more than just what are my offers. Is it paying $1 per mile? Oh my gosh, is it an X ride or a comfort ride? Is it a premier ride? Is this actually worth my time? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, they're sending me into traffic. Oh my gosh, I'm going into, is this a shared ride? You can see more than what that is. And it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. But you gotta remember what the reason behind you getting on the Uber platform was. So I ask everybody when they watch my videos, when you see me, it's really easy to look at where we're at now. But it's super hard to remember why we started Uber in the first place. For some of you, it was because it gave you the freedom to be able to do whatever you want. For others, like myself, it was because, it was paying my bills, and then I got to travel. So it was like a double whammy. But yeah, for some of us, it was about traveling. Being able to travel wherever we want, being able to take the days off, not having to worry about getting the days approved, not having, to go through the hoops of HR and hoping that it would go through. We just take the day off. For some of us, it was we take care of a loved one, and this gives us the ability to take care of that loved one, but also still get to the money. Because y'all know, jobs tell you your schedule, not you tell them the schedule. There's a lot of different reasons. Everybody has their own. But today, it's like all we think about is the offer. All we think about is the mileage. All we think about is the appreciation. And all of these things are true. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blind to it. But it's just like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, whatever gig app you do, I primarily do Uber. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to do the things that you said you were going to do. So I ask that, are you actually doing those things? Again, I was just deactivated a couple days ago now. I was deactivated Saturday and Sunday. Most of Sunday, I got reactivated towards the end of the day. And, but what it caused me to do a lot of reflection, a lot of thinking, a lot of, like, is this really worth it? You know what I'm saying? I asked the same question that a lot of you guys ask. Like, why am I still doing Uber? It's been 4 years. I started listening to a lot of the negative people. I started watching videos again, and it's like, yeah, I got caught up in it because a lot of you guys are just like, oh my gosh, this is trash. But on the flip side, I've been able to pay my bills. I lived in a really, really good house for a while, you know what I'm saying? That I never could have done, especially if I was a server. But yeah, so I'm just kind of sitting here on the bench. But yeah, let's change the scenery. I'll get back to the familiar, so let's change the scenery. Okay, so I'm back. Change the scenery. Back to something that I'm familiar with, back in the car. And let me just start off saying, I would have never been in a Tesla had I continued down my old trajectory. I'm just being honest. Like, a service salary, I mean, I made decent money, but like, I would have never went for a Tesla, especially knowing like, yeah, no. On a service salary, I could have never, I would have never tried to get this type of car. I was an old school, I was a Honda guy through and through, still kind of am. I would have just upgraded my Honda that I had, like never would have gone down this path, never. And working at the bank, they give you, like, when you work and deal with credit, it's a little bit different because everything is performance based. Obviously, like, I'm working, so it's like you have a veil over your face when you talk about credit. You have a veil over your face when you're talking about like just using your credit and all of that stuff, because everything is performance based. I was in sales, so it's like I didn't really see credit like I do now. Because okay, so being an Uber driver actually taught me a lot about running my own business. Uber is my first business. It's my first business. It's the first thing that taught me, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, what's actual profit and what's actual expenses, assets versus liabilities, like everybody likes to tell me. Like, what is, it's the first thing that really taught me that. Obviously, school kind of gives you a definition. I watched a ton of YouTube videos. I was into Dave Ramsey. Like, there's a lot of stuff that like in terms of like selling people at the bank, like you talk about assets, you talk about liabilities, but it's different when it's yours. It's so different because like when I was doing that stuff, I was talking to people about their stuff, but it's like I didn't have that firsthand experience. I didn't really know what I was talking about, if that makes sense. So I can absolutely guarantee that if I continue down that trajectory, all that would have happened, I would have just, like, okay, I put it to you like this. You ever talk to customer support and it's like you have an issue that if they, like, I don't know, let's say it's a phone or something like that, and they can't understand what's going on, but you're like, man, it's right in your face. Like, how don't you get it? Like, if you just turn on your phone, you just press the button, you would know what I'm talking about. But it's like, they're just kind of like reading the script. They're just kind of reading to you. They're just kind of doing stuff. That's how I was. And it's not to say that I was trying to be that way. It's not to say that that was my intention at all. It's just, that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? Because I had never had the real experience of having a business of my own. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I was just talking off of training. I was talking off of the experiences that I had with other customers in the bank. I was listening to their stories, their pains, their gripes. And you know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people. I can learn from other people. But it's immensely different when you do it yourself. Immensely different. So for me, Uber opened the door to me being a business owner. And then obviously from that, now I started doing vending machines. From that, I started trying to, now my credit, when I let go of my car, my credit took a hit, and I was really, the next move was to start to get into rental properties. I'll be entirely honest. But my credit took such a hit that it was just like, yeah, rental who? I mean, I don't know. That is the one thing that I look back at it and it's like, dang, I wish I never got into that accident. I wish I never got into that accident. One, but I wish I didn't stop paying for that car. I was just like, it's in somebody else's lot. It ain't, I don't know what they doing with it. Like, why am I going to keep paying for something that I have nothing to do with? My insurance isn't paying for it. I got attorney fees and I I was in a tough position. Let's just say that. But looking back, the only thing that I could say in these last 4 years, I wish I wasn't in that situation because my credit was really good. But yeah, I would have, doing Uber opened the door for me to get into rental properties. Doing Uber opened the door for me to start an insurance business. Again, I got responsibilities with that insurance business that, maybe I don't necessarily want to be in those, but, it did open the door for me to experience it myself. Doing Uber gave me the freedom to take risk. Now, again, like I said, I'm not in the greatest of position because of those things. I've had my lessons and my bumps along the way, but when I look back, it's like I would have never experienced the other side of life. You get what I'm saying? Like, being an Uber driver is your own business. And I mean, I get it. There's different experiences. For me, it was an experience that opened me up to the other side of life. What I mean is the business owner side of life. I was always a good employee. I did what I had to do. I was always there. I was loyal, yada, 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 because I was an employee. But I never understood what it took to actually run a business, to actually do a P&L statement, to actually write a business plan, to actually have to answer to, investors. Well, not, and when I say investors, I mean answering to the bank, answering to loans and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I never had to do that in my employee side. I would have never went down that path. I would have just continued down the path of management, hopefully gotten a bonus. But I would have been stressed out, I'm gonna be honest, because I knew that was coming, but I just know the trajectory of it. I would have been a manager either in a restaurant or a manager at the bank. I would have probably been like a branch manager or something like that. Yeah. I've been on call because it just paid too well, I know that that's the trajectory. So, like, when I look back at Uber, when I look back at it, from me, I'm looking at it saying, being deactivated gave me that perspective of, was it actually worth it? And I challenge anybody. I know we're so negative. I know you watch a ton of YouTube channels and they're going to tell you about the depreciation and the mileage. The offers are trash. It takes you to trash areas. You're going to talk about, Uber isn't paying well. They're scamming us. They're taking our tips. Yada, yada, yada. But what they don't talk about is this. I can tell you, I have people that message me and tell me, look, I'm able to take care of my loved one because I do Uber, because I have the freedom to do it. There are people that are literally, that have gotten into houses. There are people that have cars that they never would have had. In my case, I have a Tesla, but like, there are people that have Teslas and cars that they never would have had because of Uber. There are people that have been places that they never would have been because of Uber. Again, I'm not marketing for Uber and saying that Uber is such a great company and oh my gosh, I love Uber. I'm saying that the experience of being a driver, when you get successful as a driver, when you get successful as a business owner, it takes you to different heights. Not specifically Uber, not specifically Lyft or DoorDash or whatever, but as a business owner, it takes you to it exposes you to a different side of things. And because of Uber, I got the chance to get that. Because I would have never seen the houses that I've seen. I would have never been able to meet the people that I met from this perspective. You get what I'm saying? Like, as a driver, as opposed to trying to sell them something where we both have our guard up. Like, but yeah, man, I done kind of rambled. I done told you a little bit too much. So yeah, man, with that being said, I'm going to stop rambling. But the whole point of this video is just to say, like, when you look back at it, was it all worth it? Was these last 4 years worth it? In my case, 4 years, but was it worth it to be an Uber driver? And for me, it's absolutely, yeah. That's what I started thinking about when I was deactivated. And for me, I'm happy to be a driver. I'm happy to be a business owner. I should say that. Not necessarily with Uber, but I'm happy to be a business owner. That's what I'll say. But yeah, with that being said, man, I am out of here. Yeah, man. Thank you all again for the support. Deuces.